Are you ready?
I am. I'm happy to be ready.
Not only ready, but happy to be ready. That's new. That's new. John Peckman Podcast, Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance, beautiful downtown Portland. Come over the bridge, go through one set of lights, start looking left. Exactly how it happens. Like and subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. Hit the bell, get alerts, tell all your friends. Come on the show with me. If you're waiting for me to ask you, don't wait. Listen. Afterwards, Dave will tell you how to have your very own podcast here in our beautiful studio. That's Dave here. And we're here today with Mr. John McIlhoney. Right?
That's correct. You did a very good job on that.
Thank you. Pronunciation, that's one of my things.
But the difference between you and I, amongst other things, is that I have the Jahan, and you only have the John.
I do. Yeah.
So there's a lot of pronunciation difficulty.
There is.
In life.
There is. I don't want to focus on that. I don't want to focus on that.
Wrong turn.
Focus on you, drummer. The Physical Graffiti, would you say?
That's me.
That's you. Led Zeppelin tribute. For how long has that been around? Forever?
Well, I thought that I joined in 89, but recently I've been taking our video analog collection and putting it onto my hard drive, and I found stuff from 87, so that's how cloudy I am.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Were you the one and only?
No, I'm number 4.
Are you really?
Yeah. Eamon Cronin was the first man up.
Did not know that.
He's from Wethersfield, where all those guys came from.
Sure.
And so he was the first guy.
Wow. We don't talk about 2 or 3.
Okay.
Nameless. I don't care.
The second guy was Bonham Incarnate. His name was Mike Mantaroso, and he was just a phenom, and he was Matt Heatherman, the guitar player's, just absolute favorite. And
Sure.
he was just a Bonham guy right out of the gate.
Yep.
But I think he found God.
Oh, there you go.
So, he played
Bummer.
Bonham, and then he found God.
Yeah, it's a full life.
It's pretty much the same thing,
Yeah, and then he ascended to the cosmos, and that's
the end of him. And the rest of us are chasing the dream,
Yeah. Did we care about number 3?
That was Jerry James, a DJ, local DJ guy who had a very deep presentation.
Sure.
And I guess he was a good player, and he was gone.
Wow. You mean gone?
No, just gone.
Moved on. Okay.
And I was a creative, and I think those guys needed somebody for a gig, and I was working in Wethersfield at the drum shop, which we all know about, and they came in, and I just hit the ground running, and then had to learn it all.
Yeah, right. Were you a Bonham fanatic? We'll talk about your whole history. I'm just curious.
I remember the day Houses of the Holy came out. Me and my friend, I lived in Stratford, and we went to the record store and bought it.
Yeah.
And it was, back then, as you know, it was everything to buy that record and take it home and look at that weird cover. And
that's one of my favorites.
And slit that plastic open and just get into it. I'll never forget it. And
wow.
I wasn't really a studious Bonham fanatic, but I loved them.
Yeah, sure.
And I did get to see them.
Wow.
Yeah.
When?
When I was in college at UConn studying music, I became the percussion guy for the choir.
Oh, wow.
I played timps and drum set on weird, choir pieces.
Sure.
And so they went to Europe, and I was the guy. So I went in 1979, and we toured extensively. I've played in Notre Dame, in Westminster Cathedral, in Chartres, which is a huge cathedral in France.
Yeah.
Dragged my drums into these hallowed halls.
Wow. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Way better than Budokan. And in case you're listening, you know who you are.
Yeah.
And so we were in London, and I'm looking on they had posters up in the streets for Nebworth.
Whoa! Oh, wow!
Yeah. And so
tickets were like $7.
It was nothing.
Yeah.
And so I was there with a bunch of choir nerds. There were a couple of people that were cool, and So I'm like, we got to go see Zeppelin. And, it was a train ride and then a walk.
Yeah, yeah.
It was, I couldn't tell you where Nebworth is exactly in relation to London, but we got on a train and went there and walked a long way, and we got in and saw that whole madness.
Wow. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was very, very packed, and, it was many hundreds, I think a couple 100,000 people.
Wow. That's right at the end.
Yeah.
Probably the last time they played in the UK, probably,
It
right?
might have been. It might have been. That was with the New Barbarians, Todd Rundgren, Keith Richards was the New Barbarians. There was, a lot of, it was a big deal.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It was fun.
Yeah, I bet.
I wish I could remember it.
Yeah, right.
I remember the walk, and I remember being mesmerized, and it was a kind of a hilly thing, and, next time around for me, I'll have a better memory.
Well, that's historic.
Yeah, it was great.
Pretty historic.
Great time.
Wow. So where did you grow up?
I've been all over New England. My father was a rising executive guy, so I was born in Bridgeport.
Okay.
And then first move was to Keene, New Hampshire, and then Rochester, New York.
Oh,
and
wow.
then we ended up in northern Jersey, where my dad passed away.
Oh, wow.
When I was a young boy. And then we moved back to Connecticut, because that's where we started the whole cyclical thing. And then, Yukon, and then I planted myself in Hartford in 81.
Wow. Okay.
And pretty much that's been it.
So you went to college for music, you say?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, I was a trumpet player.
Oh, wow.
And then fell in love with drums. I think the Who was the real moving force there. And when I've been to England many times, and I swear to God, every time I go to England, I feel like I'm just walking around with a Who album open.
Yeah,
holding it in front of my face, because Townsend painted the whole picture.
Yeah,
for
right.
me.
Right.
So
that's heavy. What was the first Who thing that really blew your mind? Just all of it? Or?
Tommy.
Yeah, sure.
And I had Meaty, Beady, Big and Bouncy.
Yep.
And those. Tommy was it. It was just amazing.
Yeah.
An amazing thing.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I love the Who. Who.
Yeah, we talked about that the other day.
Yeah.
The Who's Next is just.
Sure.
It's just a piece of genius.
Yep. I agree. Yeah, a lot of people agree. Actually, it's a thing.
Yeah.
It's a thing. For real.
I've seen them in I saw them in Springfield right at the end of his life, of Moon's life.
Whoa.
And, he somersaulted out, onto the stage, and that was just amazing. And
wow.
then, through the different incarnations and seeing Zach Starkey light it up, that was just. Have you seen that?
No, I've never seen him.
Oh my God, he just killed it.
Yeah.
It was so amazingly great.
Yeah. No, I've seen things of him, videos. Yeah, that's kind of wild, right?
Yeah. I mean,
poor Kenny Jones, I guess. Did you see Kenny Jones?
I never did.
It's cool. I mean,
yeah, it was different. It just didn't work because of, just to me, because of, he just didn't have that electrifying presence.
Sure.
And I mean, I don't know how you would ever do that.
I don't know.
Keep that train rolling. I mean, maybe it was a good idea because he was just so stripped down, and they just went to something different.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. What's funny is, like, I remember an old a Live Faces record from, like, I don't know, 73 or something, and he plays drums. And it's like, he sounds great. I'm like, probably he got sober, I bet you, is what it was. But, like, him playing with the Faces sounds like it would work. But by the time he got in the Who, he was just like, it was a little too straight.
I think
kind
of for me, but
whatever.
Yeah,
it happens.
Yeah,
but you
it would be like the Police with the next guy, except the next guy was Vinnie Colaiuta.
Yeah, right.
So forget that.
Yeah, totally.
Or Omar, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Omar. Yeah. What'd you make of that?
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that.
I think I might have. I don't think I don't think I saw Omar, but I saw Sting all along the way.
Yeah.
I'm trying. Who was the guy? It was before Vinny. There was a guy.
Anu Cachet.
There was someone else in there.
Yeah, there's a young guy.
Yeah.
I think his name was like Kip or something.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
But I did see. I saw. I think it was somewhere in New York, like Roseland Ballroom or something. The first incarnation of that, and it was
with Omar.
Yeah, and Brandon and Marsalis and Kenny Kirkland. Oh my God, it was ridiculous.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Far out. So I first met you at going to Creative. When did you start working there?
That's incorrect.
Okay, it is.
The first time I met you was at the Flower Power Festival at Conn College. You were 14 years old. You were playing with Bert, and I was mixing. I was working with
Really?
Yeah, I've told you this before.
Yeah.
I was working
College.
with a sound company doing mixing, and that was one of my gigs, and I went there and set up the PA, and
oh wow,
and you were there, and you were just dropped me.
Really?
Yeah, you were like 14.
I wasn't 14.
You were.
No.
You were young.
Yeah. I probably would have been 17 or 18.
Oh, well, you look 14 to me.
Yeah. Wow. I do remember that gig. There's a lot of people at that gig.
It was called Flower something. Flower. It's like the thing they have every year at Conn College in the middle of a thing.
Well, when did you start working at Creative, though? Can you remember?
85.
Oh, really? Okay.
86.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's true. I remember growing up, I guess for people who, because I talked to Matt and Crivolone about this and other people, it's like, if you grew up in Rocky Hill or Wethersfield, Creative was like the drum shop of the universe. And it was local to them. But for me, I grew up in Wallingford. So it was like, we would go up there like once or twice a year. My dad we would go up there. And it was like to actually see drums and cymbals like you would see in the magazine or the catalog. It was a big deal. That place was a big deal.
Yeah, it was.
I'm sure to a lot of people. But, me just going there a couple times and the whole thing of like going there and then going next door to the record store, it was the whole experience, the whole thing. It was pretty magical.
Yeah. I totally agree. Working at Creative was a very high point for me, being in that community. And I got to tell you, and I'm not being a sappy con artist here. I'm walking in this room today, walking into Connecticut Valley music. I mean, there's all these studios and all these people, kids studying, and there's guitars hanging in a room.
Yeah,
and that doesn't happen anymore. So kudos.
Yeah. No, it's cool.
A beautiful place here. So come spend some money and get a life.
Yeah, get a life. Yeah,
because music will get you a life.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree. Yeah, no, it's cool to be part of it because, like you say, that's what I grew up with, was the hang. It was like getting there and just feeling like, okay, this is my tribe. Yeah. And I only knew, you know how it is. You're in school. I know one or two other drummers, and that's it. You go to Creative and just hang out, and be like, man, who's going to show up? Who's not going to show up? Just hanging out. It was such a big deal.
I think that that's Creative was great, and it really sparked that feeling for a lot of people, and Bob Gatson, the great Bob Gatson was such a big influence on the whole community, because of his strong presence, and the place was amazing.
Yeah, no, I
for real.
Yeah, for real. I mean, like, I haven't been too many places, but I can't imagine it being a place being any better. You know what I mean? It was like everything was there. There was always something going on. You guys were doing something. I remember, you and obviously Jeff Brown, Bob, obviously. I'm trying to remember. Well, of course, Mark Carter, of course.
Well, Mark is
the best. Yeah.
Mark is the quintessential behind the counter
Yep.
drum dude.
That's the dude.
Unmatched.
Yep.
Unparalleled. You know,
Could do anything.
I mean, I call him now. He goes, yeah, you got to get the Gretsch Renown. He's talking about shells and, the lugs are just,
Yeah.
And I'm like, Mark.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Was he there? Was he there before you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mark was before me. It was, it was a cool little progression of people, but I grabbed, me and Mark and there was a guy, John McKenna, who was there. You remember John? And
yep.
And then
I remember there was a kid named Bruce. Remember?
Oh, Bruce
was there?
Menard. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He was after Jeff.
Okay.
Jeff Brown.
Yep.
And, it was a great, while it lasted, But, of course, the old guys, Steve Agritelli, I don't know if you remember him. He was a great, cool dude. And Jim Foley was the first guy. He looked like Walter Becker.
Okay.
Real long brown hair, glasses, and
I think I remember.
He was a Tony Williams guy.
Yep.
And he would fill up an ashtray like in his 6-hour slot there. And, he's the kind of guy who would suck it on a cigarette and he would just like take the whole thing in one fell swoop.
Sure.
And he was just the coolest guy, and he was just very nonchalant and jazz blasé.
Yeah.
But he was cool. It was a great Gene Bosey.
Okay.
Sal Rainiello. There was just a great community of guys that Bob used to do things like go to Zildjian and come home with like 300 cymbals.
Oh yeah.
And then people would come in like it was like a feeding frenzy.
Oh yeah.
Shark attack and
oh yeah.
He did stuff like that was just so unique. And, it was it put the place on the map and it was all him.
Well, I didn't.
God bless him.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't know. I guess eventually, we all become part of a circle. But I mean, I was just a customer. Just a face in the crowd, and it's hard to even state how meaningful it was. It just was. Yeah. You know what I mean? I mean, it was like, now I look back and realize how lucky we were to have that thing, and then the clinics and whatnot.
Yeah,
that was a real thing.
Yeah,
I can't imagine that every place in America had a thing like that. Yeah, I bet you they didn't.
I bet you they didn't either. I mean, you go to
Bob he was the real deal.
Yeah, yeah. He just from the time that I mean, when I bumped into creative, he had already studied with Gary Burton, so he was playing vibraphone. And, and he had those Bechet sculptures, and he was doing that.
Yep.
That was it Moto? Was that that group that had that stuff?
Yeah, but like the sculptures that.
Yeah, the big, huge like sheet metal things that had resonators, and they'd put their fingers in water and stroke these glass.
Yep. Remember those? Yeah.
And they'd go. It's crazy, but they had a thing, and when. To your point, when I was in the tribe just going in, we'd come from Yukon, and we'd go there and, just be, jerky kids buying stuff and hanging, and that's when I was introduced to it, and, then was lucky enough to become part of the other side of the coin. But yeah, it was a great place where everyone gathered, and
definitely,
and it's It kind of emphasizes the point that we were talking about the other night about, the tribe, we drummers.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. Drummers. Yeah, we were talking about that because, we could hang out. I think, drummers hang out together. Like we were saying, like I don't think lead singers hang out together.
I don't either. I tried to hang out with Doug Putnam, who's my guy in Physical Graffiti. I tried to get together with him tonight. Because I was on my way back from the shore coming here. Yeah, he wouldn't hang out with me.
The singers don't even hang out with him.
No, he doesn't even. He doesn't even get it.
Yeah, right.
Though they don't get it,
I guess not. Yeah, it is. It's kind of funny. Yeah, drummers. I mean, I guess we're as competitive as anybody, but I don't know, in a different way. I don't think we're competitive like guitar players are or whatever. It's just like we kind of dig each other. I don't know why that is, because it seems to me like every drummer has like their own thing, You know what I mean? And you just kind of like can dig each other's thing without feeling like, oh, competitive or critical. I know it's weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
drummers are pretty cool.
Yeah,
like that.
I would say. And we were talking about this. We did get together the other night. We were talking about that very issue, and the Stuart Copeland, Taylor Hawkins role, that whole thing, and obviously those guys are on a they're on a stratospheric level, but doing the same kind of stuff that we're doing.
Just drum dorks.
Any drummers that want to hang out at my house, just we'll find you.
Oh yeah, that's what we do.
We have a drum hang often. In West Hartford, and I'd love to have you.
Yeah. Just sit around and talk nonsense. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it's like Matt. Me and Matt, the same. It gets to the point where we talk about the same conversation has been ongoing for however many years. And sometimes I'll say to him, I go, because I'll bring something up. I go, did we talk about this? And he's like, yeah, I'm sure we did. Like well, let's do it again.
Yeah, right.
We just like talk the same stuff over and over again. Yeah, it's crazy.
But it's our lifeblood. I think. I'm just so into it.
Yeah, still. Yeah. So who first turned you on drum-wise? You like Keith Moon, would you say? Mm-hmm. That's how it started.
Yeah, I remember being, having a ton of records in my, well, I was always I remember Cousin Brucey, WABC.
Okay, I've heard
AM 77, and all the 45s. My grandfather was he worked for a novelty company, and he had a Chevy Nova, and the trunk was full of candy bars and 45s.
Oh, nice. Hey.
Yeah, so
great.
He was the man.
Yeah.
And I had a million of those things. I remember Tommy James and the Shondells, they had the roulette thing. Mm-hmm. And then, they'd made cool, the paper in the middle of the 45.
Yeah.
And the Apple, of course. There were a bunch of different ones. Stevie Wonder's was the Motown, Atco. There were all different ones.
Yep.
I remember that kind of vision. So the 45 was really how I kind of got my first exposure, the single.
Yeah.
The single.
Why drums? Oh, trumpet, you said you started on.
So I played trumpet, and I remember my dad used to take the missalette at the end of they'd give you a missalette in Catholic Church for the 6 weeks of some ecclesiastical period, and then when that thing was over, he would take it, and it wasn't stealing because he wouldn't steal it from the church, but it was it had expired,
right? So
it had the hymns, Abide by Me and whatever. So he'd bring that thing home, and I remember him setting up his big, chaise lounge with those intertwining vinyl strips, the big thing, and a weird beer glass, and he'd make me play that book of hymns in the front lawn.
Oh wow!
On my trumpet
on the lawn.
Yeah,
outside in the rain.
In the rain.
Yeah.
No, in the snow.
Out there.
But I don't know. I don't know why drums. That's weird. Why drums?
I don't know.
Do you know why did it happen to you?
Me?
Yeah.
I heard the first thing I can remember noticing was the White Album by the Beatles came out in '68. My parents had it. I would have been 1 or 2 by the time I started hearing things, and first thing I ever remember hearing was the drum breaking Birthday. Boom, bam, 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 that thing, and that I started hitting stuff, and then it was like, okay. I didn't notice the melody or the harmony or the singing.
Yeah.
There was everything else around that one drum break, and I just started hitting stuff trying to make that sound.
So I'm playing with this West Hartford band that's called Lonesome Eddie and the Bird Dogs.
Okay.
And they're just, local West Hartford heroes. They've been around forever, great guys. And
sure.
So we play Birthday whenever we need to. And
sure.
I do the vocal, and so
nice.
we had a German guy come up, and so I learned it in German.
Really?
Yeah. So
wow,
that was fun. I mean, I had the paper right there, and
yeah.
Something about Sag ist deine Geburtstag.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But
yeah,
great.
Yeah,
great stuff. And we were talking about Ringo.
Yeah.
And the great thing about music is it's never ending. It's just completely
Yeah.
eternal.
Yep.
And never much of a huge Beatles fan. I had those two, those records where there was a red one
Yep.
and a blue one.
Yep.
Those were my Beatles records.
Sure. Yeah.
Whatever are they called? The Meet the Greatest Beatles.
Yeah, I mean, among Beatle dorks like me, I don't know what those are actually called, but we call them the red album, the blue album.
Yeah.
You know,
So
depends on
I don't know why, but I never got the Ringo bug.
Sure.
And I started reading this book, and it was so amazing. And we talked about this the other day too, coming into a subject through reading.
Yeah.
And making those pictures happen in your own head.
Yeah.
And so I came into the Beatles through reading about it to be really deeply moved by it. And
Sure.
And now I'm like, I can't believe how genius this guy is.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird.
He made every right move.
Yeah.
And musically, I just watched something, and it was like, this is what Ringo could have done. And then he played all these maybe 10 songs that the way we would all play it.
Right.
And they sucked.
Right.
And then he played the parts that Ringo played, and they were imaginative and genius and killer. And you go, okay, well, where have I been all this time?
I don't know. It's one of those things.
Beautiful. I mean, and, if you can get to that point, then, then you'll be happy, because I'm happy now. And when I listen to him, I'm like, oh my God, what?
Now you're going to get mileage. Yeah, you could ride this out for a while.
What was I think? Yeah, I mean, so I got I've been listening to the Beatles like heavy duty, and been, just putting those records on time after time, and just like there's just these little cute little breaks where he'll just play one hi-hat note, and it just melts you. And it's
yeah. It's weird, man.
Yeah.
I have a whole theory, but we don't have time for that.
Yeah, okay. I'd love to hear it afterwards, though.
Well,
on the back porch.
Yeah. Everyone's heard the theory by now. But so drums? When did you end up with drums? When did you get serious about it? How did it all happen?
So my mom bought me a set of Rogers drums at Banco's House of Music in Ansonia, which was an amazing, amazing place.
Yeah, I bought a drum kit there once.
Did you?
Yep.
They, it was like the place had, it was, I don't know, it was so crowded with stuff. I don't think they knew. They had like this central.
It was overwhelming.
Thing, like a central area that, in the middle of the room, where all these guitars were just hanging there, and they were like in a circle. So So what was in the middle of that circle? Yeah, it probably was there for 20 years. Then you got like a some kind of Gibson banjo or Gibson mandolin that was worth $20,000 was hanging in there. Oh yeah, somebody brought that in, in 1959. So anyway, that Banco's was cool, and we went there and bought some drums, and then I just started playing. And one of my first real loves was Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Okay.
And that was a very funny thing, because our house was kind of built in the 70s, so it was a nice house, but it was, I have a house that was built in 1900 now, and I have drums downstairs. And when I'm playing downstairs, you can hear it through the house, but it's not. It doesn't ring the house. It doesn't resonate the house.
Okay.
When I was a kid playing those drums downstairs, I'm told, because I was sitting there playing. Sure. The whole house was just,
Oh, really?
It's just shaking. So
I gotcha.
So I learned. I played Hoedown.
I don't know.
It's that tune. It's the Aaron Copland tune.
Okay.
Sure. And then Carl Palmer proceeds to go through like 10 meter changes in 20 seconds.
And you're like, this is for me.
And so that's how I learned to have a great time. So it's been a battle ever since. But anyway, I was completely addicted to progressive rock after that, and saw every Genesis, Yes, ELP show that I could.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, so that was
That's killer.
that was took me on that high road.
Yep.
But I still enjoyed
Rock and roll.
Creedence and Stones and
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So,
When'd you start gigging out as a drummer? Somewhere in there.
I played in college. I did some wedding bands, and my friend Frank Jaguar, who was a great player.
Yeah.
I was right behind him at UConn, and so he sucked up everything.
Yeah.
And he threw me a bone once in a while. I had one of my I think maybe even my first professional gig was with this group called Mike Noto and the Coachmen.
Oh.
And it was trumpet, drums, a guitar, real young guitar player.
Of course, you played trumpet and drums at the same time. That was you.
No, but I'm going to do that soon.
I bet.
And then there was a Cordovox player, which I know you've worked with Cordovox players before.
No, Dave, we talked about this once. What is that?
It's like it's an electric accordion that synths out.
Oh,
So it was one of the first. It's actually a cool idea. Probably now that would be just bomber.
yeah, right. Cordovox.
There's a dude in West Hartford that drives around with a trumpet on his passenger seat, and like you can hear him at the lights. He starts jamming.
Oh, nice.
And he's awesome. So, I'm gonna break out that. I took it to work a bunch when I was working, in Hartford, before I retired.
Really, you can still play it?
Yeah.
You still bust it out?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I still have good chops.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know how, but I take it out once in a while, and
that's cool.
But I really want to do something where I'm like you can hold the trumpet in one hand and play certainly with one hand. So the other hand can do like a simple groove with your left hand.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And I'll take a video of it. And
yeah, definitely.
Then we'll laugh.
Why not? That's killer.
We will laugh.
Yeah. So you're gigging with the Coachmen or whatever.
So I did a few, we did a bunch of stuff when I was in college. Not a ton, but.
Did they play Hoedown or no?
No. No, not at all.
All right.
Then I started doing some rock things, and we had a cover band, a bunch. It's been all covers for the most part for me. I've been in a couple of original things, but I played with a really nice singer from UConn. Her name was Diane Bennick, and she sadly passed away a couple of years ago with brain cancer, and that was a sad day. But she was very talented, and we had a couple of nice groups. One was called Fire and Ice, and we used to go up and down the East Coast playing, that 80s rock stuff.
Sure.
And that was really the first thing that was successful for me. I was making money doing and making a living. And that was probably, 80, 81,
okay.
82.
And then creative came in there, somewhere in there.
I started working at Creative, and I was doing sound engineering. I met a guy at UConn.
How'd you get into that? Just
I always enjoyed it, and there were two guys. Peter Craig was this dude who I learned everything from. He was a guy that lived in Hartford, a really wise musician and excellent sound man, and he was a craftsman too. He built stuff, and he was just meticulous, and I just learned everything about how to do it the right way from him. And
great.
We did a whole bunch. I used to, be his second guy,
Yeah.
We would go do all kinds of different things. And I probably did 200, 300 gigs with him.
Wow.
And,
just another thing.
Just learned how to do that. And I'm so glad I did, because I'm pretty good at that. And it's, it's something that's served me well across the course of my musical career. And,
why not?
Being able to deal with that part of the business. And
the more you know, I guess, right?
So I've done a lot of sound gigs too.
Wow. I didn't actually know that.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. And then along comes Fizz.
Yep. That it was like that. They came in, and it was just like, Matt Heatherman, who's the guitar player. He's just a whirlwind, and he came in, and he, if you remember, Creative used to have a guitar section called Creative Strings, and that's where Peter Fagan worked, and Pete was his sound engineer, and so Matt and Pete were tight, and I was tight with Pete because Pete was in Fire and Ice with me playing guitar. So there was a commonality there, in addition to the fact that we worked together. And so I got introduced to Matt, and I honestly don't even remember the first meetings, but I played well enough to get the gig, and then I learned how to do it.
Wow.
Trial by fire, and
how big a deal were they by then? Were they up and running?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. It was.
So you're like, this is a good gig.
Well, it was definitely worth it for me to, leave everything else behind and do this, because and
you like it enough.
I did. I loved it. Yeah. I mean, I was a big fan. I knew I had a lot to learn, and
well, why not? It's all the good stuff.
Yeah, and it was a great experience. We went to some cool places. We played in Israel a couple times. We were in Canada all the time, up and down through from Connecticut to Florida and all the way out to the Mississippi. We played out west a bunch.
Wow.
So we had a really good long run, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was great.
No, I mean, growing up, it was a big deal. I remember one of the first things I did when I turned 21 was go see you guys at Toads. Because that was just like, oh, we got to go.
Yeah. We probably did 25 shows at Toads.
Yeah.
And I have them.
It was amazing.
I have them all on video, and we were at that point. We were really stretching out. We were playing Friends.
Yeah.
We were playing Four Sticks.
Yeah.
We were
doing
playing,
it all. There you go. You get your prog thing together, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, that's for sure. We're doing like the stuff from Presence, that In My Time of Dying.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Did you guys end up doing every single song?
We never played Hats Off to Roy Harper.
Sure. Right. So why would you?
We did a fair amount of the acoustic stuff because,
that's cool.
Gary played mandolin, so those were all good.
Yeah.
We probably never played Poor Tom.
Sure. But like eventually everything.
Yeah, we did so much of it,
That's killer. I remember, I hopefully this is true, because this was my impression. I went and saw you guys at Toads, and you opened with Kashmir. It was like, whoa, this is heavy. Like, they are not fooling around at all. Like, open with that, and it was great. It was great.
The Physical Graffiti thing was amazing because, I feel incredibly lucky to have, gotten into a group with where the other three guys were just so, they just really had it. It was Matt, of course, was it's really the heart. He's the heart and soul of it, and he, it's really not all he knows how to play, but he just came through music through Jimmy Page, right? So there was not a lick of there wasn't any leakage from anywhere else.
Yeah.
So me, I'm not fooling anybody. I mean, I've studied Bonham, but
sure.
But I've seen guys that that play it like that, like it came in. But I know, it's so I'm just making kind of a, he was so authentic and so credible in his performance that it just lent, just such an air of realism to our group. And then Doug, the singer, was just so amazingly gifted. I mean, he's 60 years old and he's still killing that.
Yeah, I saw you guys the other night.
Robert Plant was done by 25.
I know, imagine that. Yeah.
And
isn't that weird?
And then Gary can play anything. So, the triumvirate of those three guys was just amazing. And then, all I had to do was learn how to play like John Bonham. That's it.
That's all. Yeah, just that.
So I'm still working on it. The other day, the one thing I always wanted to have Doug do was say, was acknowledge how great that drum part was. And, like at the show, say, you guys, do you realize what you're listening to? Whether it be a rendition from my guy back here or when you hear it on the radio, that you're hearing, an 18-year-old guy that is playing something, that, I mean, I don't want to say it's never been played before, but it had never been played before.
That's what they say.
Like that. I mean, that particular figure and just the way that went down. I mean, it's just so unbelievably unique. And, he never really gave that piece of music, the kind of its due. And he certainly never gave me my due for learning.
Son of a bitch.
I'll never forgive him.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm up against that difficulty every time I play that tune. I'm 64 years old. He was 18.
Right. I know.
He whipped it off like
it's stupid.
He was eating a ham sandwich,
Stupid.
So there's the definition of genius and all of the rest of us that crave it and follow it.
Well, yeah, I know what you mean. You think about stuff like that and, oh man, let me see, how do I say it? It's like we're talking about, like, we're mere mortals. We might be good mortals, but we're just people. It's like when you think about it, you're like, you're talking about John Bonham. There's one ever in a million. Like, I remember when I was really young, and I would listen to, because see, let me take a little Bonham detour. The thing that I love about Bonham is he does everything well. Arguably, in his solo for his time, best chops of anybody, but also best feel. Can play faster than anybody, can play slower than everybody, like whatever it takes. And I would listen to the way he would play slow blues and think, how old do I have to be to sound like that? Like, how do I sound? He sounds like Moses on the drum. Yeah. And then I realized I'm 20 years older than he ever was, and I still don't sound like that. Yes. And he was, like you say, he's 18. Good Times, Bad Times, track 1. It's like,
yeah, I mean, that is
it's ridiculous.
Just think about that. I mean, that is.
When I was young, I thought, well, when I get older, I'm going to play like that. No, you ain't. You'll never be that old because he's a genius.
Yeah, that is. I mean, just think about that. That was his come out role.
Crazy.
I mean,
crazy. It's crazy. I got this thing. I make these mixes. It's a different, not a podcast, but it's a different thing. I'm working on one. I do this all the time. When you think about this, album 1, track 1, like bands that album 1, track 1 that are either outstanding or interesting because they're different. Good Times, Bad Times is album 1, track 1 of Led Zeppelin. It's stupid.
What are some other ones? Could you?
Break On Through by The Doors, album 1, track 1. It's pretty good.
Really?
Yeah. That's album 1, track 1.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I had the whole list somewhere. Let the Good Times Roll by The Cars, album 1, track 1. Pretty good. Let Me Out by The Knack, album 1, track 1. Blister in the Sun, Violent Femmes, album 1, track 1. Next to You, The Police. The list. I have the whole list somewhere.
Oh, that's great.
But you think, some of them.
Very cool.
Yeah, they just, you're like, here it is.
Yeah.
And, either because it's so different from what they became, or I Saw Her Standing There, Beatles, album 1, track 1. I Saw Her Standing There. That's the first song. It's pretty heavy. It's heavy. Anyway, I got the list somewhere. We'll talk about that another time. So Fizz, how quickly did you have to get the kit together?
I played a Zico's Clear kit.
Okay.
I just couldn't find it. But then it was
like that was a requirement. They were like, you get, dude.
Well,
like, what were you playing at the time? Can you remember?
I had those Rogers drums still.
Yeah.
And
was that part of the gig? They were like, dude, you got to get You got to get the thing.
I don't even know if. Yeah, I mean, there was no doubt about it that I was going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm a gear guy, and
Timpani comes roaming through creative.
So I bought. I got all my stuff from Charlie Donnelly.
Oh wow!
So that kit was Charlie had it, and
wow,
I got it pretty quick. But it was maybe a couple years, maybe 18 months, and then I got that kit, and that was Bernie Polka's kit from Little Village.
Yeah.
And Charlie had it in the window, and I went in there.
Vistalites.
The orange Vistalites.
Yep.
There were 2 bass drums and a bunch of toms, and I split the kit in half and sold some to a guy in Japan. But I got the kit, and then the timpani was Rob Freed's.
Okay.
And he
Makes
had
sense.
it in Charlie's window, so I got that from him too.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, I love
the gong.
I love playing that stuff. It's when I go do a gig, I mean, it's ridiculous that I dragged that stuff along. And every
You
person
got
that
it.
I talk to now, all the drummers are like, I talked to Frank DiCiccio the other day, and he,
Sure.
what a great player he was. He's one of my favorites. Do you know who he is, Frank?
No.
From Oreo.
No.
He's a local guy. He's
Okay.
amazing player. And I used to love to watch him. And now he's playing with Gary and that guy Sean from Spirit Shaker. Those two dudes, they have a band together. But I saw Frank play recently, and I was just telling him I used to love to watch. I came to see you all over the place.
Yeah.
And I just loved how, he was such a groove master, great player. And then we were talking. He goes, yeah, I'm not really doing it much anymore because I don't want to lug my gear around.
Oh God.
And everybody, and that's, that's a very viable thing.
Oh yeah.
But
For sure.
I'm still dragging a timpani and a gong around.
But the other thing, it's a 4-piece kit with 3 cymbals. Plus a timpani and
Yeah, I
gong.
guess.
Yeah.
But the bass drum's 26 inches, and
2 floor
it's
toms.
giant.
Double floor tom.
Yeah.
All right. So 5.
My wife says about me, she goes, she has, her thing is minimum effort, maximum reward. And that's,
Sure.
she likes to play that card.
Yeah.
But she goes, John, you're like, and this it sounds weird, but you're flipped around. Maximum effort,
Yeah.
minimum reward.
Well, that's what makes us what we are.
Yeah, I don't know about minimum reward, but maximum effort, and I'll take that as a kind of a badge of honor. I'm
Why
not
not?
afraid.
Do it the hard
friggin'
way.
lug this stuff around. I don't care.
Yeah. Do it the hard way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear you. No, I mean, whatever.
It just that does not.
It makes a
deter me.
difference. I know it
does.
Like I say, well, good. I'm glad you know that because
Yeah.
just saying, it's kind of like the creative thing too. It's like, yeah, man, when you see Fizz's stuff, when you see it, it makes all the difference.
Yeah.
That was like, not to take a side trip, but like, because when we saw Matt, our friend Matt Starr, when we saw his first Ace Frehley gig, and it's like, yeah, it's cool. But then when you see the effort that he made with Mark Carter and probably your help too, just seeing his drum kit on the stage and the presentation of the kit before he even gets there, you go, that's why he's got this gig.
Yeah.
Like, that's the effort. Yeah. Where, like, I still have cymbal stands that have duct tape. Like, I don't notice how things look. And you just go, that's why Matt's a rock star. And I'm, but it was just, but it does have an impact. And that's a part of showbiz that I never quite got. Right. But with Fizz, that's like, when you see that gong and that timpani, that it's on.
Oh, yeah.
It's got to be.
You're absolutely right.
It's part of it.
There is
killer.
And a little bit of it's a little weird because you're kind of, I don't know, I find that to be like the holy grail. Like when I'm at one of my gigs and I'm out looking at the stage before we go on and it's all lit up like that.
I'm saying
that is cool.
Yeah.
But it's also
well, it's worth it.
It's worth it. I'm not gonna detract from the.
Well, I don't know if it's worth it to you, but I'm just saying, as an audience member, it makes all the difference because it's like, oh, this is for real.
Yeah, Matt used to have like he used to have the Zoso cabinet or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, he went through all that work to do that, and
why not?
He gave up on that a long time ago.
Oh, really? What now? He just has a pop.
He doesn't even have a guitar stand. It's like, I swear to God, he's going to show up to a gig with like his guitar is over his shoulder, like in the car, like he drove with it.
Oh wow! You guys still playing?
Yeah, we are. We have we did a cool show in Providence in the summer with Blushing Brides. That was really fun, and we still have a good time playing, and it's
you still enjoy it.
There's so much. I love. It's my I can't say it's my favorite gig because I really enjoy doing a lot of different things I'm doing, but I really like doing that.
It's a big part of your.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool, and it's just it's been harder to like really put that out in the forefront now because we're just getting older and nobody's really repping the thing anymore, and I mean our crowd is, even though there's lots of Led Zeppelin fans across the board, the crowd's getting long in the tooth.
Yes. Well, that's good. At least there's teeth.
Yeah, huh?
when there's no teeth, then you'll know. Then you'll know.
I suppose that's the nursing home set.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my friends just played his first nursing home gig. You know,
Boy.
and,
Yeah, that happens. Yeah.
And
long in the tooth.
He wasn't drum. He's a guitar player, so I mean, certainly no drummers are going in there.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Older people are going to be cooler, I guess. You know what I mean? Like people that are in the old folks' home now are at least a little cooler. I mean, my mom saw the Beatles.
That's very cool.
It's pretty good. Yeah. As a drummer, just out of curiosity, what did you find what Zeppelin song or songs were the most challenging for you? Were you just like, oh, okay, like I gotta do more work on this one. I'm just curious. Can you remember? Or were you just like, I kind of got this. I got all.
Oh no, I never ever said I kind of got this.
Oh, okay, all right.
Not one time. Not one time.
Okay, so instead of thinking of what one, you're trying to think of what one is not challenging. That's what you're thinking of. Like what one are you just like, okay, here we go.
You mean like I'm up against it and I gotta really make it happen?
Yeah.
Good times, bad times.
Oh yeah, sure.
I mean that to really deliver that just solidly. It's usually our one of the first tunes.
Nice.
There are a lot of like Achilles' Last Stand is brutal.
Sure. So long and intense.
Yeah, and
there's no let up in that song at all.
Yeah. There's it's just trying to be musical and trying to just trying to just really be authentic, and then you run up against things like when people are out in the audience and they notice that you're not playing the parts right, like your wife.
Yeah. Yeah, she's brutal.
Yeah, oh.
She is brutal. Nothing gets by her.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
And it's a real thing, you're out there and people are, I'm like, I can't remember all the Dire or Jamaica fills,
sure.
Zakata gum,
yeah.
Dom, Briapa bush. And I'll be trying to put something in of my own and, you'll see a lot of disappointment out there.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever. You're not, I know what you mean. You're not doing a Civil War reenactment.
No,
you know what I mean? Like,
my daughter went to Gettysburg, though.
Oh, hey.
Interestingly enough.
There you go. Really? What's her address?
She I asked her that we were doing a gig and she was there and I needed somebody to check the vocals and I have a film of her reciting the entire Gettysburg Address and so I asked her to go do that and she got halfway through the first. It's 238 words and I think she got 20 words in and started faltering and I'm like, Siobhan.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, the fate of the nation lies upon you.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
That's way more important than the second fill in Jamaica.
Well, yeah, but anyway, all I was gonna say, we got to move on. It's like, but you guys, you grew up with it's like you're not gonna make a choice that's outside of that's not in the lane. It's like you have don't you think when you see Jason Bonham when he did the O2 show, it was like, I thought it was cool because he preserved what I thought were the most important bits or the essence, but he did his own thing. And it was like, because your own thing is still in that lane. It's not like you're, going to play Bonham and then the second you get a chance to do your own thing, you're going to do something completely inappropriate. It's like, you guys have been around long enough that you're just like, I don't know. I wouldn't expect people, I guess some people do, if they think about it wrong, to go see the show and they expect it to be a down to the atom recreation of every single. It's just like,
well, that brings up an interesting question because I was never able to fully, I've
John
seen
Bonham didn't play it the same way.
Well, that's for sure.
You know what I mean?
You're absolutely right. He would never and wouldn't. He would laugh at this.
Right.
Right. Or kick our asses.
Yeah, or both, or laugh
whilst kicking our ass. Totally. But so there's this guy online, and it's called Kick It Like Bonham.
Okay, I haven't seen him.
And he's got he's got it so down. It is frighteningly scary. And I learn, like, there's
Yeah, do you do that sometimes? Have you gone back and said, okay, let me? Yeah.
Well, like, we talked about, like, for instance, rock and roll. Like, so So that came from a time where, that record. When was that? 72, 1, 3?
Yeah, probably.
Very, very, very gauzy mix. You
Sure.
can't really tell what's going on. I mean, there's so much 70s thing going on there.
Yeah.
So, so the first thing is, what's the intro? And And I think you might have even told me what it was, or hit me to the
Jeff Brown knew.
Somebody knew that it starts on the end of 3, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I played that song for 20 years.
It makes your whole world flip
so,
when you figured that out.
So, and then the other part of it was, I watched another video, and the guy was going, the reason why rock and roll sounds so fat is because he's riding the snare drum and the hi-hat.
Yeah.
And which is a really difficult coordination, but once you do it, you go, okay. That's it.
Yeah,
and I never did it ever once until I saw that.
Whoa.
So there's,
I want my money back from 50 shows or whatever.
But, the point is that, with the internet and with all the millions of people and brilliant people in the world that are dissecting things, you, like this guy, Kick It with Bono, go, those of you listening at home, go check that out, man. There's like one fill in Hot's On for Nowhere where it goes like, patalio, get it to bombs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know that one.
Right. So I thought it was, like that that 4-stroke rough. And no. It's like this double on the floor time. It's really freaky.
Yeah.
And he played it, and I'm like, wow.
Ooh.
And I wasn't even in the ballpark.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I mean, to the point that there's some guys that I don't know how they, how it's been over the course of time, but there's just an encyclopedia that's just being developed, and it's like Mozart, I mean, I went to UConn. There was a guy that had Collegium Musicum, and they were playing like zincs and sack butts and shit like that. I mean, that's what's going to happen with this. It's just going to be so thoroughly,
And why not? And meanwhile, they could care less. Like I say, Robert Plant has moved on so far beyond.
Couldn't even.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I saw Robert Plant and Alison Krauss back in the day. That first thing, it was great. It was one of the best things I've ever seen.
It's my favorite. You saw them together, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
And it was nothing to do, it was beautiful. It was just its own thing.
That's Raising Sand. That's just
it was
one
crazy.
of my favorites.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, it's just beautiful.
I don't want to run out of time. Dave, we're going to, this is going to be long. So for the cable show, they're just going to have to, because we still have to we got to keep talking. So it's going to be a long one for YouTube, but who cares? All right.
Well, can we plug your music store again?
Yeah. Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is the place.
Absolutely. There's guitars hanging from the ceiling. Come on down.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
The Desert Island albums, a few that you could take with you to the desert island. That would
Ghost in the Machine.
Gotcha. Roger that, as they say.
Off Ramp, Pat Metheny.
Okay, don't know that one.
How many do I have?
I don't care. Okay, 5-ish, whatever.
5-ish.
Yeah, Ghost in the Machine. I remember. I had a Walkman, and that on cassette. I would listen to it when I was doing my paper route in the morning, and just be like, wow. I used to bug out on One World, and then the delay would come on every once in a while, and I would always keep track of that.
Yeah.
You'd play the song, and there would be a delay. You realize later they were just in the studio, probably just.
I guess,
yeah.
But
I used to bug out on that.
That was big.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know every single thing.
He was just God.
Yep. Yeah, I loved him. I still do, but I mean, when I was a kid, he was my number one.
Me too.
Yeah,
without question.
Yep.
I'll think about that as
right.
I don't want to have dead air. My 5 albums that I got to bring.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
Houses of the Holy.
Yeah.
Maybe. Hoedown.
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't bring any of that.
Yeah.
That was a kid's stuff. But
Okay.
I put on Trilogy now. It's a great record, I love it. I love Keith Emerson's playing.
Okay.
Just amazing.
Far out.
Yeah, maybe Close to the Edge. I love that one.
Yeah.
That's a
How
good
wrong can you
one.
go?
I could
Get
live
with
with that
that.
one for a
Yeah.
long time.
Definitely. I hear you. Desert Island food. What could you eat every day? What do you eat and go, I'd be cool with this every day? If there was a law, if someone said.
I'm a real Italian guy.
Really?
Italian food is my thing. So
Far out.
we just made lasagna with homemade. We poured the flour out and
Damn right.
did the whole thing.
Yep.
And so that would be it.
Cool. Yeah. Go with that. Lasagna.
I'm a lamb fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love food. We just went to Europe, and one of the things that we had was couscous, which is
Sure.
that, you know what that is?
Yep.
And they, in this restaurant in Paris, they had like really great lamb that they'd worked up, and it was just amazing. It's an amazing conglomerate there. With the spices and
Get it together.
It's just great.
That's cool. Killer. What can you, well, maybe you already answered. These are like in case there's something that's unanswered, but some of these we already maybe did. But can you think of 1 or 2 live shows that you saw that changed your whole thing, that you were like, this?
Mm-hmm.
Can you think of one other than Zeppelin at Nebworth?
Yeah.
That stand out.
I remember seeing Relayer, the Yes Relayer tour
Sure.
when they had Patrick Moraz and
Yeah, right.
and that was that was amazing. I remember we went to Providence to see that.
Cool.
All the Jethro Tull live was always amazing because so musical and dynamic, and the acoustic, he'd break it down and it would be him, and then all of a sudden it would be, just wonderful, beautiful orchestration and the drum breaks, and that was very dramatic,
Killer,
really fun. I got to see.
Did you ever see The Police? I saw them twice.
Yeah, me too.
Killer, crazy.
Yeah, yep. No, I saw him 3 times. I think 3 times.
Yeah, I did too. I saw him Ghost and Machine tour, Synchronicity, and then when they came back.
Yeah, when they came back, that was great. That was really good.
Yeah,
I mean, that was.
Yeah,
I just read an article.
I thought it was
about
cool.
That. I mean, they really, everybody says Copeland's time sucks and whatever.
Yeah,
he
whatever.
Speeds up, but I don't hear it. I mean, I don't know. It's like it's part of the energy. And,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think Jeff was like, Jeff was critical of him the other day. I'm like,
We talked about it. Me and Jeff talked the other night. We talked about it. Yeah, I mean, but again, a genius. Well, I have a theory. Here we go with the theory. So you're Stuart Copeland. We had to learn skills in order to survive, how to play a lot of different kinds of music, because we didn't get famous playing in our 3rd band. If you're Stuart Copeland and you're that innovative and you're known for that thing, you just do that thing. What is he? He doesn't have to know how to play a shuffle. Why? He doesn't need to.
and he probably doesn't know how to.
He probably doesn't. I didn't know how to until I had to,
Yeah.
and that's why. But you just go, guys like that. It's like you don't go to Stuart Copeland to be able to play everything. He does his thing.
Yeah.
So maybe in some ways he might not have the skill, but he doesn't need them because he made his mark as an innovator.
And his of course, about his orchestrations
Sure.
and the stuff that he's done. The Equalizer, that first thing, and
Yep.
and those great, that record that he did with the African stuff was
The Rhythmatist.
The
I
Rhythmatist.
have on vinyl still. I bought
right.
it back then.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was very cool.
Clark Kent.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
I am the hottest thing you ever did see.
Yep. Don't care. Yep. Absolutely. All right. You got anything we didn't talk about that you want to talk about briefly before we get out of here? I learned things this day. You played
Well,
trumpet and sound man. This is why.
The thing that I'm grateful to be here to talk about is like just how blessed we are to be, in love with music and to have that in our lives, and it's something that, I just take it for granted. It's just part of me. I spend all my time in immersed in music and,
I know, me too.
and whatever, whether it's listening, playing, or practicing. I'm studying vibraphone now, and I'm really digging that. And so I thank God that I was able to receive that, and I just can't imagine what the rest of the world is doing.
Right?
I just don't understand.
Yeah.
I really,
I agree.
I'm just completely baffled that music doesn't have more of an effect on. I mean, I see it in my lay friends, people that like this dude that I work out with. He owns the gym I work out with. He's an Eddie Money fan, Springsteen. He just loves music.
Sure.
And he loves that. And he tried to play a little guitar, and it just didn't land with him. And but I'm just so glad that the wave came over me, and I was washed away by it.
The filter by which you take everything in.
I am so grateful. And I think in the largest measure, the best thing, my best musical trait is how much benefit and gain I get, and just absolutely pure exhilaration out of listening.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
cool. That's, thank you, God.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
For making that happen for me,
Yeah.
That's what I have to say.
Hey, that's a good thing. Yeah, there's one that stands out to me too. I'm the same way, just obsessed. And I had a neighbor of mine, one of the places I live, and we just nerd out and listen to music and talk about it and go on and on. And one day I was just like, why are we weird? Like, why do we do this? Like, we're grown men. And he's like, because we don't golf. Like everybody's got something. Like, there's grown men that golf and spend money on golfing and talk about golfing. And I mean, not that this matters, but at least we made a dime at some point out of our obsession and interest, which is kind of cool. Some people made much more than a dime, but it's just funny. I always sticks in my head. My friend goes, dude, because we don't golf. You know what I mean? Like some people, yeah. This is our filter.
Yeah.
Our window into the world.
Yeah. I'm so glad I didn't get caught up in the golf bug.
Well, nothing against golf. I'm just saying,
I play terribly, but
everybody's, I guess people have something. Yeah. And this is what we have.
And just happy for that, man.
And it'll never go away.
No, I don't think so. I think, I'm
what you have. I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and go, I hate music.
I'm 7/8 of the way there. And I'm just kind of thinking about what's going to be playing when I'm laying out,
Make the list. Don't start making the list yet, but make the list.
But,
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm going to press the button. You okay with pressing the button?
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me.
Of course. No, I've been.
You're one of my inspirations in my life right now. I love hanging out with you and all of our buddies, and making this thing we love.
I appreciate it.
Happen.
I could never imagine. I mean, you wouldn't know this, but like being at Creative and seeing you guys and how cool everyone was, I never thought I would be part of it. I just wanted to be as cool as you. That's all I wanted to be. A lot of us feel that way. So
yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
You are.
Well, all right. I'm going to leave it at that. He said it. Did you hear it, folks? All right. I'm pressing the button. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. John McIlhoney was here. Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance. John Peckman podcast. Come over the bridge. Go through one set of lights. Start looking left. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. We went a little long. I don't care. I wish we could go twice as long. It's all good. It's all good. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Drive safe. And we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot, kids. That is all.
If you'd like to start your own podcast, give us a call at Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance. Our professionally designed podcast space is here for all your recording needs. Rent out our studio to do interviews with up to 4 people, to record audiobooks, social media content, and all other recorded material. Our rentals include a private studio along with our professional-grade podcasting equipment, and we can customize your output to whatever your needs are. We also have green screen capabilities, which will expand to video capability if you so wish. So check us out here at convalley.net/podcast.